Hi, my name is Jen Parker, and I will be presenting today on fake news, disinformation, and critical media literacy. The reason I chose this topic was because I teach 7th grade ELA, and students fall prey to fake news and disinformation all the time in their personal lives, whether it's on social media or in the classroom, where they use resources that are not true. And so I wanted to dive into this topic to help find the data about it and also resources to help them fight against fake news. Let's dive in. With great power comes great responsibility. I tell my students that all the time when we're working on the internet. Using the internet is a great power, but with that comes great responsibility. And so just looking into this, these are my topics that I covered, the history of fake news and just an overview of fake news, students and their response to fake news, and then what our response as educators can be, and then finally putting it into practice, how to fight against fake news and disinformation. Fake news is not new, but it is complex and can have devastating effects. Fake news goes back as far as the Salem witch trials or Benjamin Franklin's counterfeit paper. All with the intent to persuade the public and either give them what they want or to provoke fear. False news spreads false information. It impacts economic stability, public safety, democratic processes, and media trust. Why do people put fake news out into the public? For a variety of reasons. For their own enjoyment, for financial benefits, for political gain, for social relationships, celebrity worship, and to simply generate more revenue. When you have fake news that people want to check out, it means you get more clicks, and with more clicks, you get more money. And the prevalence of it today is that people want to believe things that support their beliefs. So if they see something out there that, oh, I think I already agree with this, they're going to click on it. And the data also showed, this was fascinating to me, that if you see something more than once, people tend to believe it's true. So if you see something on the internet more than once, that in our brains convinces us that it's true. The interesting thing about students and fake news is that they know that fake news is out there. However, they fail to verify the information that they find. They feel very confident in their ability to detect it, but they overestimate that ability. They also don't like to take the time to verify a source. They would just rather click and be done. They don't want to take the time to open up a new tab, verify about the website, verify the news that they're finding. They don't like to take the time to do that. So what is our response as educators? Our response is to use critical media literacy. And critical media literacy combines social, political, and cultural debate and discussion with the analysis of how texts and discourses work, where and with what consequences and whose interests. I love this quote. It says, students who possess critical media literacy skills are able to analyze relationships between speakers and audiences, interpret and critique multi-layered messages, and examine the stereotypes, dominant values, and ideologies informing these messages, which that's exactly what we want our students to be able to do. So if we know critical media literacy is the answer, how do we put that into practice? So I've given 3 ideas just to kind of help us use critical media literacy in practical ways in our classroom. So first is just inoculation. Just expose students to a variety of fake news and disinformation to protect them from it. So the simple thing is, show students what fake news is. Show them how that the internet tries to dupe them into believing that something is true when it's not, or show them simply when something is partly true and partly false, and how to fight against it. The next way is internet reciprocal teaching. Once we're showing them these things, we need to kind of not first practice, but we first show, then we practice, and then we kind of take our hands off and let them practice it for themselves. Because we can do all the teaching we want, but until they get in front of the screen themselves and practice putting these things into practice, that's when it becomes real. And we know that they're using their critical media literacy skills to fight against fake news. Lastly, one thing that I love to do in my classroom is gamify learning. I feel that students just learn so much better when they feel like it's a game. They don't feel like they're being told something. They get to put into practice what they've learned. This is a great game to do that. It's called Newsfeed Defenders. They become a character that works at an online newspaper where they have to prove that their sources are true. They gain points. They have to put up information as well onto their site. So it's not only just finding fake news, but they also have to publish information for their website. So they're also looking for sources. So I love this game, and I think it is a great way to fight against fake news and to teach students critical media literacy. Conclusion: we give students power and autonomy over fake news and disinformation when we teach and implement critical media skills in our classrooms. So thank you so much. Have a great day.